Now, for the first time ever, hundreds of firms that supply goods to the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh and Prince Charles are all gathering at Buckingham Palace. Royal warrant holders from across the UK are holding a Coronation Festival. Well, Joanna Gosling is there for us. Joanna, looking beautiful in the garden of Buckingham Palace.
It's a gorgeous day for it, Ben, and it is a perfect setting. It's an event to mark, as you say, 60 years of the Queen's royal patronage. It marks, it's bringing together all the different companies that have been granted warrants by the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh and the Prince of Wales since she's been on the throne, and it is effectively a very posh trade fair. This, for instance, is what the inside of a royal marquee might look like. But it's interesting to talk to the companies behind some of these royal warrants and to get a bit of an insight into what the royal family like and the sort of companies that they use. For instance, the first royal warrant that she granted was shortly after she was first on the throne. That was to a gun supplier. Since then, we know where she gets her underwear, amongst other things. But I'm going to talk now to the supplier of some of the royal drinks. It's Lawrence Mallinson of James White Drinks Company. Thanks for joining us. And I know that the Queen is a particular fan of your tomato juice. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I've got you a little glass here for you to try. It's a very nice spicy version.
Thank you.
Well, basically we launched a product which was meant to be a sort of a ready-to-drink Bloody Mary without the vodka,
right.
And so that you had it immediately, you never had any problem. Well, when we launched, we had a product which was I thought was lovely, delicious. Everyone liked it. They liked the name, and so. But we decided after about 6 months of trading that that it wasn't really quite spicy enough. So rather than admit that we made a mistake, we launched a second one, and so we had a rich and spicy version and a less spicy version. But as it was meant to be the definitive Bloody Mary mix, it's difficult to have two. So I quietly dropped the original one, and then about 3 months after that, we got a phone call from our next door neighbour who rang in and said, I've got this very delicate matter to raise with you, and that is that Her Majesty the Queen really liked your original Big Tom, but she finds your rich and spicy version a little bit too much. And I had to write back and say that sadly, unless she was able to take it by the tanker load, I was going to have to let her down. And I was thinking, thank goodness it was Elizabeth II and not Elizabeth I, as I'd have probably had my head cut off for that.
So did it put the royal warrant at risk? Was it almost a deal breaker?
This was very early days because you have to supply them for 5 years. So I thought it could. I thought that would be the end of that. But they kept buying. I see it. And so 5 years after that, we got our royal warrant, despite the fact that we had not adjusted to the royal command. So. And
obviously you've got a great story to dine out on for the rest of your life with this one. But other than that, what impact does having a royal warrant have on a company like yours?
Well, a royal warrant, I mean, we love having a royal warrant. It's very, very proud. I don't think that a lot of people will go and buy a drink because it's got a royal warrant on it. Although I think what it will do is it will give people an assurance that the people who are making it know what they're doing.
So you don't think it impacts on sales here? What about
I think internationally, they love it actually abroad, yes. And so in certain countries like the States and Japan, there's no question that it makes it can be a real. What it does is it opens the doors, and you get taken seriously. And so if I go abroad, and in fact even I have other products with other different types of. So I do beetroot juices and I do carrot juices and things like this. And the very fact that I have the royal warrant will allow it opens doors and people will take you seriously. So it's been a great help actually.
Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Well, the Queen's going to be here later having a look round all the stalls. The public are able to come in tomorrow. This is an event that's open to the public, buying tickets, although it is now sold out. But it is the first time that members of the public will have access to the grounds here at Buckingham Palace, the largest private garden in London, in this way. We're told it's a one-off. And I should just say, actually, before I hand you back to Ben, that even the flowers here are by royal appointment. They're by Shane Connolly, who designed the flowers for the royal wedding. So we're going to have much more from here, live throughout the rest of the afternoon. For now, though, I will hand you back to Ben.
Joanna, I think you should have a little sip of that tomato stuff and see whether you think it's spicy enough and whether it gets the Gosling seal of approval. Go on, have a little sip. Go on.
Well, I intend to sit here in my seat and enjoy my tomato juice while you do all the hard work in the studio.
You just don't want to spill it over that lovely jacket, do you? I know. All right, Joanna there at Buckingham Palace for us, where the weather looks gorgeous.